Oh, yeah.
That was lovely. So what was that, Brede?
I think it's the Bag of Spuds.
Brede, you were telling us, just tell us about your family, because I know it's a very famous family as regards Irish music and all that, but were the family always in Old Parish?
No, my dad came from Slíabh, and his father was Donnacha Chafu. My dad is Seamus Chafu, and there was 5 in the family, 4 boys and 1 girl, and they were all singers. They were all traditional singers. But my father mostly was Shanos around Scoilge. Fi Alondas na Haran again on Ahar Hain. His own father had a lot of Irish songs. He was an Irish speaker, and his brothers sang as well. And there's just one of them left now, John Coffey. He's out in the Nire Valley, lovely part of the country, beautiful, the lakes of the Nire. And there's a lovely song that Father Bracken wrote, The Valley of the Nire. And myself and my sisters used to sing it together years ago.
Oh, go on, so...
I think, yeah, it was a lovely song. He taught music. He taught the accordion. He was in Old Parish as a curate, and he was out in Ballivacarbra and the Shanna Fubble from Ryan. He was before his time, I suppose. Like he wrote another song, April of 1916. So, but then when my father was growing up, he was a next door neighbour of the famous fella Pádraig O'Malley, and his own father was interested that he learn a lot of Pádraig O'Malley's poetry and songs. So he went to classes to Pádraig O'Malley, and he had great time for Pádraig O'Malley. Pádraig O'Malley wrote Slíabh Galgo, one of his most famous songs, and he had another one, Mahig Begair, also does umpteen of them. There he have a whole book of songs, and Dad would have learned those songs from the Meister himself, the man that wrote them, Pádraig O'Malley, and he sang them, and he won a lot of he sang in Coltis, and he won a lot of medals and cups and things down the years for his Shanno singing in both English and Irish. Then he came to, his father had a small little holding, not just some few acres of land. Couldn't be enough to survive on. He worked on the roads as well, helping to repair roads. And Dad worked with him for a while, and then with his own dad. And then he got a job in Coláiste na Ringe, and he would have been doing any type of work they needed, like anything from, I suppose in Sakishton or wherever he was needed. Like he would be a jack of all trades, you know what I mean, doing whatever work was needed down there. And he loved it because he had his Irish was very good. He came from an Irish speaking background, and he really enjoyed working in Ring College, and he had a lot of friends in Ring. But he said he was only there a very short time when he saw my mother sing. It was Roisín Dubh, and he could describe the dress she wore, and he fell in love with her. And she was Courtney Hannachan o Helvig, and han Tigan Gafol in Nekala Tig Vuraha, right alongside Murray's Titana, Murray's pub in Ring. And they married, and they moved then, still in the Gaeltacht in San Gortín an Shanafubble. And there was 4 of us girls who were brought up in San Shanafubble. Meheen, August Mirafur, Kathleen, who is my twin sister, Cúpla Bia Midna, August and son Maura, August and son Bernie, August Bina Haran a casa ag Maura, Bernie, Kathleen, August Meheen. We always sang, and we won a lot of things down the years, I have a medal in Shanno singing. I didn't come first in the All-Ireland the year 2000, but I think I came third. I came third, but I was very proud of the All-Ireland medal, even if it was third, but because we always enjoyed singing. But it was the only competition I ever went into, and it was credit to a teacher up in Coolnasmere, Nuala ní Ahig. She told me, go ahead, go into it. You know, it was the year 2000. You know, you have to. So I did. But then there was the four of us, and my sisters used to sing and score, and won a lot of stuff and score. I didn't sing and score now myself. My aunt then, Peg, from my father's side of the family, she was a sean-nós dancer, and she won an All-Ireland in 1962 herself and her husband and a group of them who did a set. They did the set dancing, the Slíabh set, and that was it was a big occasion. And Monty Halloran, who would be I think he's the grandson of the famous Pádraig Ó Maolí, was the steward. He was the teacher there, and with the Slíabh set, and he's still teaching dancing as far as I know. And then that would be my father's side of the family. They were all out in Slíabh, and they were into singing a lot. We'd go out there as children, and it would be a night until morning of singing, and it was mostly singing. I don't remember much music. Now I'm sure there was music there, but from my Mointery Cofu, I think it was mostly songs, you know. Then we'd go, you know, down to Unrying, and my aunt came home from America, I remember, and she had the gramophone. I still remember it. My mum was amazed that I could remember it. It was left alongside her bed in the front room in Helvig, and all the Tobins were over, they'd be her nephews. They were all over looking at this gramophone. I was only about 3 or 4 at the time, and I can remember there was fear untas ar fad ora that you could get these records and play them on the gramophone. And then at that time it was Paddy mostly was doing the singing, Paddy Tobin, and his sister Caught, who went to England. Then after that we were still singing our songs, English, Irish. The ballad groups came on stream, and we kind of set up that way, and we'd sing and score and different places, and really enjoyed that, you know, that era as well, because we do 3-part harmonies, and we really, you know, loved it, and we'd bring in some of the Irish and English songs that our family had down the years. So we sang in a lot of competitions and that, and won some of them, you know, and really enjoyed it more. We sang more for the enjoyment, I think. You know, we really enjoyed the music and the singing. Now, the music would have come from my mother's side of the family, because she, her father, who was Pat's Shanachán, from who lived in Helvig, married to my granny, he was a music teacher, and he used to play the tin whistle, the fife, the accordion, the violin. He played a whole lot of instruments, but I never knew him. And my father never got to meet him. He died, he was only 46 or 47, and he died sudden. So there was a big family of the Shanahans there, Mointery Shanachán. There was about 12 of them, and half of them went to America. And one of the oldest one of them then, who was Brede De Paor, she married the Tobin man, and Niklaus then would have been her son, Niklaus Tobin, the sean-nós singer. And it was funny the way it turned out that both my father and Niklaus, who were kind of connected through marriage, well, Niklaus never married, my father married Niklaus's aunt, Gortín Ornan, and there was singing from both sides. It was always traditional Irish singing, but the music came from my mum's side of the family, from the Shanachánnig, you know, the Vidragahuntak and Kjol, you know, they were very good, you know, they loved the music. Shanahan ran from all reports. I had an uncle, Dig Shanahan, and he used to play the button accordion as well. But I don't think any of the Tobins, I never remember them playing now. They mostly sang. They didn't sing, they didn't play. But my sisters now, they play guitar, and one of my sisters teaches music, Bernie. But that'd be that side of the two sides of the family. Maintar Shanachán ó Helvig agus Maintar ó Cofua ón Brede De Paor, you know, nece le balla macabra. So bhí Rosans na Sléite agus na Cofuig ó an Slíabh agus na Shanachánig ó Helvig.
Well, you were definitely spoiled for music influences, weren't you?
Well, we were, yeah. We didn't play sport or, it was always songs and music and singing and playing music and set dancing and playing for sets. And I can remember we had great nights in our house at home where a whole lot of musicians, there was a lot of music on Shanafobble that time. I mean, still is, I'm sure, but as well as a lot of good singers, there was a lot of music. I can remember Ciarán Galván, he's living out there now, he plays music and his son plays music, but his father, he'd be kind of my vintage, he would be playing music, and a lot of other men, but it was mostly men, and it was very hard back then, because if you were, a young girl, nowadays so much more easy for people. They can, they have groups of young people playing music. There was no one playing the accordion when I was that age. I hadn't anyone to play with, so I just played away down on the back room at home, and I really enjoyed it. And my mother was delighted I played the accordion because she used to play it. So she always wanted me to play the accordion. I didn't play it enough for her, I think, back.
So Brede, would you, it's up to you now, but would you give us a song at this stage? And then we'll carry on talking a little bit more about your family.
Yeah, well, I'll sing one of the songs that from my mother's side of the family that she was to sing. On Gortín Ornan, Martin. Is bochelín firog me is gavorig amrin ras hog shark da chalin og me din osta le koragjar ni rev hateri na kloka na buchli bui den te fruis ag te beglush a brogin she must orini gavai me bos is more a gacha enin ta limerick go crown sta no sing bri maskeldat ni adir on den farun ber litter wam fela ga cool crevach na fang ifjaun is gavil machri da chesa is nach feder lam kalakyun ni dat Gortín Ornan a storin gar hug me gra na few dat kopla kofrin den orbui da medislan dat chapel no dat volacht god jo ni aning tacht ag blas da hopla pogin is stolam gar Brede De Paor. Tá gachanas is tornach is rora le hawan ali. Snach der na boira is moorjach of us getreed. Ní anan vom na ronta na kjol baing eger ner chrev. O chalsa mastorin she hochach an hjodum chri. Sin will.
Was that a song from your mum, you said?
Yeah, my mum's family used to sing that song, and you'd hear it. It's a song from the Daisha and from that, you know, from the locality, on moon stocha, you know. Casa Calon dine an oran sin sarang fado, you know, vishe Anna dine lawn dine casa, you know. Nothing different about it. It was sung fairly regularly, you know. That's just from my memory, you know.
And before we talk about Dungarvan itself, the town, just out around where you were brought up, I mean, was it mostly songs, or was there also a lot of music?
No, a lot of music in Shanafogel. There was a lot of music in the Shanafogel. I could list a whole lot of people off. Sean O'Lecha, the comedian, Bishop Postal and my auntie Brede, Sean Galvan, Liam O'Cruttig. They had a Cayley band even in the area, you know, and it was very popular. They played at my wedding, the local Cayley band. But there was a lot of music in the Shanafogel, you know. A lot of my mother's family, the Shanahans, could have sung Galir, Halar, could have got a New York. They went to America. They also, one of them came in to Dungarvan here, and he was a violin player, Nick Shanahan, and his son went to America years later, and his son came back then, and he teaches music around the locality now. He teaches in a lot of the schools. Nicky Sanunda. So, but in the Shanafogel there was a lot of music, you know, lot of older men, but not so many women played music back then. I couldn't remember anyone that not even older women. The only woman that I would have known that played the accordion was my own mother. You know, and even in Ring, I don't think there was any women playing music back then when I was young. When I went down to Garvan after I went to Balvacart School of Douche, and then down to Skull Santa Claus. And when I was there back then, there wasn't anyone playing music that I could play with. You know, nowadays it's different. It's all changed. You know, but back then I can remember there wasn't anybody.
Was that the case that it was very much a man's?
It was. I think. Well, you know, maybe you might hear women playing the violin and violin. You know, but I can't remember. There wasn't many people playing the buskakiol. Not around my area. I didn't come across them. You know, and. It wasn't so easy then because you didn't, you know, the men would go out to the pub and play the music, but we wouldn't be left out at the pub. And then as a young girl, you were with, you know, now a lot of them would come to our house at home in the Shanafogel, in Snagati, where my dad is still living. But nowadays it's so changed, and I think it's brilliant because the cultist groups, you know, there's a branch up in Coolnessmere. It was brilliant. Like there were so many I'm living up near that area now myself, in Kyle na Frachán, and all them lovely names. There was the Kyle na Frachán, Cool na Smear, Kyle Gobnet. There must have been a lot of fruit, and they even called the hill that I'm living in English, which is pity to call it that, Fruit Hill. But Kyle na Frachán is the place name of the area of where I'm living. And then like Kyle Gobnet, she had to do with the bees and the bacca, you know. There's a Kyle Gobnet again in Ballavorna. And even in the church in above in Kyle Gobnet, there's a statue of Gobnet, you know. So it must have been a place where there was a lot of fruit and bees.
Flowers.
Yeah, so it's up underneath Croghan there. That's where I live now, with, you know, postman.